explain what primary helium is and why it's so significant in today's market?
So most of the world's helium today is produced as a byproduct of natural gas production. And so therefore with the natural gas comes a little bit of helium, and that is separated out to create the helium product. I guess the difficulty that comes with that is that there's no flexibility. So should the world need more helium, which certainly it is these days with the advances in technology, is that it's as a byproduct unable to produce more, because then what happens to the additional natural gas that comes with it? So primary helium is where you get occurrences in the ground, much like a natural gas deposit, but you get a reservoir which is enriched in helium, and they're very subordinate in natural gas or methane. So that makes it primary in the sense that helium is the primary economic driver. And so that brings with all sorts of possibilities. So in terms of becoming a bit like a flywheel in the system, you could say that should there be more helium required, then a primary helium project may be able to fill that. And at the same time, if not required, can throttle back production. So it has that flexibility. And this is the business that PULSAR Helium specializes in. And we have two primary helium projects, one in Minnesota in the USA, and the other are two new projects in Greenland.
What specific steps is Pulsar taking to ensure that the Topaz project is developed sustainably?
So the Topaz project, that's our one in Minnesota in the USA. And so that is a primary helium occurrence. So that comes with its own benefits, is that you're not producing hydrocarbons for the sake of the helium. So there's that. So it's that primary production of helium. Also, it's what we would call a conventional. So in sense of when you go in to drill it, the helium and the associated gases naturally come up to surface. There's no requirement, nor would we ever do things like fracking. So the footprint's quite minimal. It's a very high concentration helium. So that would mean that the overall gas that needs to be processed in a production scenario is less than, say, a low concentration. And then for helium production itself, I mean, really the only consumable that's required is electricity. And so long as that's responsibly sourced, then there is a wonderful opportunity presented to be able to produce helium with a much lower carbon footprint than, say, where the world currently gets its helium from.
Finally, what can investors expect in terms of upcoming news flow?
So the activities have been focused on our project Topaz in Minnesota in the USA. And so for that one, we've just recently deepened the Jetstream number 1 well that we drilled last year. And then in January of this year, we've deepened it to go through the entirety of the interpreted reservoir thickness. And then we drilled a step out well next to that one in February. And that once again went through the entire sequence there of the interpreted reservoir. We also have ongoing seismic activity to increase our footprint and knowledge about the size of this reservoir. The other week, we just completed some downhole testing of both wells, and these give us some good data for the reservoir characteristics. And then later to come will be the flow testing. So that's going to say, okay, how vigorously is the gas coming out of the ground? And that can give us, very good insights as to the potential production capacity of those wells. And then later on, a resource update to our existing resource, but now updating it with the drilling that's just been completed. And then later in the year, a economic assessment. So then for the first time telling the market, okay, with what we've drilled, what is the possibilities of going into production, and what do the different sensitivity analysis look like for different production scenarios. And we have an agreement in place with a company called Chart Industries, which is a world leader in the design and fabrication and ultimately commissioning of industrial gas facilities that we're working with. So, it's quite thick and fast. There's a lot to look forward to.